Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. In today's archive video, we have a wonderful presentation by astrologer Gaia Alcon titled Quality Copying Between Charts in Synastry. If you are enjoying our content, please like and subscribe, and we'd love for you to join our growing community. And lastly, if you wish to view our current class, workshop and webinar offerings, please visit KeplerCollege.org. And without further ado, let's get into the video.
So welcome everyone. Please excuse my excitement. So we will begin now to our dive in. Quality copying between charts in Synastry. We'll be talking about my theory, my hypothesis, I can say, as I explained really shortly, and we'll be seeing examples. Now, I always want to know the structure of things when I, invest the time and sit there. How will it go? I need to learn that. So for that reason, I always lay out the structure first. We'll be seeing Synastry and the divine network, Synastry and the human learning, quality copying, how and when it happens, a case study, a Venus experience, that friend story, a family pattern, couples evolution, conclusion will be our route today. I hope it sounds excited for you too. Now, Synastry and the divine network. There's a real network in the universe, and we know that all of us, each and every one of us, are connected to each other. Each chart resonates with the million other charts. These days we see the soulmate, Instagram posts everywhere, right? Do we really think there is only one soulmate? Do we really think there is only one person? There is only one best friend? There is only one job for us out there? No, I don't think so. There are a million other charts. And we also know that this resonation, which we call synastry in astrology, has the perfect timing and a great intelligence with a purpose. It's possible to observe a connection even in the daily events. When you go to a market, and not that one in the corner, but the other one, I prefer that. Why? Why? If we have the chance to see the charts of every place we go, we would be really surprised. So the universal law of resonance always on its work, even when we choose to go a certain place instead of the other, something is catching us. I'm sure you experienced that too. For example, when you are waiting for a taxi, why not that one and not the other one? So there is something, the energy is there. The etymology of synastry shows that it's a word that comes together from two other Greek words, sun and astre. Words come together and create synastria. It becomes synastry in the mid-17th century, which is also related to late Latin. In the Greek language, sun means together and astre means star. So it's literally what we define when explaining synastry, right? Together and star. It's a dynamic of two or more charts which we use for analyzing how these particular energy beings work together. Because of its comparing capability, synastry is mostly used for relationships. For example, some traditional astrologers say the moon in the man chart shows the woman in his life. The first traditional astrologers have those moon and sun ideas. So the sun in the woman chart also shows the man in her life. This perspective basically is an example of the idea that every person in our lives, in our charts, not only the sun and the moon, we have rulers in our charts, seventh house person, or we are the rising, we are the ruler of the rising. We all know that. So we can assume from these theories that a chart is interacting with the other, just like human beings who have the energetical fields interacting with each other and are making connection in different ways. Charts are like pieces of puzzle, as they have planetary placements and aspects to create connections with each other. In a puzzle, all the pieces are really created for connecting with each other, just like human beings are meant to be. So if we go further about this, sometimes we can see that there are real connections between two people who lived in, different centuries, different cultures. When a person has a certain interest in an artist, have you ever felt that? I'm sure you have felt that before. Let's say 15th century, it's visible in the synastry of the artist and the person who is interested in that artist. So if you have been loving a certain person, but why, what is the connection? So you need to maybe check the chart. You may want to check the chart and the synastry between you two. So synastry and the divine network. In other words, each meeting that has happened is meant to happen by the divine order, and it's supposed to be that particular way. We even see the disconnection, right? Do you ever, have you ever thought about that? We can see the disconnection between two people in synastry in platonic interests, as only one person from the two is connected with the other by the planetary configurations in terms of angularity. So as another example, I observed that the moon of the second partner of a married man, for example, falls in the man's 12th house. This placement and some other placements make this affair only a 12th house event. In one symbolism or the other, that works, but not a public or regular one. This also means if he decides to marry or make it public with this second partner, the relationship will lose its nature. It's most likely to end. So it's obvious that when we come together with people in our lives, there's a divine plan. There are lessons to learn. Even someone who is not a fan of the idea of destiny like me can see the connections between charts as they are only happening in the ways that they are supposed to be. So let's move forward. Synastry and the human learning. That's interesting. Now, the most important learning experience between charts is the quality copying function of the chart. Here comes my theory. We learn by getting familiar with someone's characteristics, and we get some of the characteristics. This begins, in the family. Most of the similarities are not related to the DNA. There are studies about that. They are just basically learning and copying behavior. This also happens in the long-term relationships. There are sayings about this, tell me who your friend is kind of sayings. In the marriages, we observe that friends or partners look like each other after a period of time, or they begin to look like the same things. So there is something happening there. And there is a synastry there, makes them connected and makes them in a relationship. And what is happening between those charts, that will be our topic today. My theory is that the more similarities and the planetary connections we have with the other person's charts, we get closer to that person. And the closer we get, the more we mimic them. I believe this is a neuronal activity of the brain. Synastry and the human learning. Now, let's talk about this. There is a neuronal mimicking process in our brains. And when we do a certain thing and someone touches us, they are receiving the information from us. Even we don't say something, we don't tell the truth to our partner, for example, to our mother or someone who we live with. We don't tell the truth. They will get the truth from our cellular information. So that's something interesting. There are receptors in our cells. There are cell receptors, and they are actually connected to our neuronal system in our brain and, in our, neuron system in general, we can say. So we are gaining knowledge by simply being with other beings. When you be with a mathematician for a long time, you will gather information. You will receive similar connections, or your brain will create some similar paths of thinking or functioning. So cell receptors are doing that, and it's connected to our neuronal activity of the brain. We can say cells talk to cells, charts talk to charts, which is interesting. So actually, what is happening between the charts so that cells are giving that information to each other? There is a connection between those two processes. Actually, it's only one process, we can say. Excuse me. Quality copying, how and when it happens. Now, there is a formula here, okay? According to my observation of the cases, I created my hypothesis. There must be this kind of powerful connections between charts. Now we'll be going one after another and talking about them. First of all, stellium to stellium conjunction in the same sign, the most powerful as I observe, or a stellium and a planet conjunction. In this situation, the copying function comes from the planet, which doesn't exist in one side's chart. For example, let's think of a benefic stellium in the second house in one's chart. Everything is perfect there, right? When another person has a Mars in that sign, which is in conjunction with the other person's stellium, that Mars will affect the person's resources for sure. But more than that, the first person who has the stellium may have a tendency to mimic maybe the money spending habits or the Mars habits from that Mars person. Also, when the planets in conjunction are completely in the same sign, this creates safe, familiar energy between two people and makes ground for absorption of the other planet's quality. Think like you are in a comfortable friend's house. So there you can, okay, let me try that. Or a stellium and a planet conjunction. There can be two stelliums conjuncted, or there can be a stellium and a planet. So in this situation, the copying function comes from the planet, which doesn't exist in one side's chart. For example, let's think of a benefic stellium in the second house, in one's chart. When another person has a Mars in that sign, which is in conjunction with the first person's stellium, that Mars will affect the person's resources because it was the second house, right? So, but more than that, the first person may have a tendency to mimic the money spending habits of the Mars person, the second person. Also, when the planets in conjunction are completely in the same sign, what happens is this creates a safe, familiar energy between two people and makes ground for absorption of the other planet's quality. Like you are in a house of your, you are in your friend's house and you are relaxed. Your friend is offering you something new, like lemonade. Let's try this. There is no doubt there, right? You can try it and you are comfortable. So this kind of energy, we are absorbing the other people's energies and qualities. Secondly, when a person has an ascendant in the sign of the other person's north node, this is a way to learn where to go, where to head for the north node person, especially if the ruler of this sign is well placed in the chart of the person who has the specific ascendant. This person will be a qualified example for that north node person. So it will be an example about where to head in life for the north node person. The planets that are placed with the north node or the south node of the other person are also important because, they are showing the way to us. If the conjunctions are happening at certain degrees, this makes, exact degrees, this makes the process stronger. You can understand that it's really meant to be. We'll be seeing some examples. Missing elements and shadow signs are related to the people who are challenging in our lives, which also is an opportunity to absorb information. Yeah, it's interesting. When we like some people, we absorb the energy, we transfer the quality. When we don't like, even when we don't like, we can transfer the quality. These people carry the information for our evolution. As soon as we learn our missing quality, those people who have irritated us, when we learn from them, learning is achieved. We acquire the information and we are now, we are free. And we have that information right now. And lesson is, lessons are not over because it's a shadow sign in the radix, in the natal. However, we'll be talking about how to calculate the shadow too. This is a part of quality copying, and it's also important to do it willingly in this case. I know this person Aquarius, and I know I need to develop my Aquarius capabilities, this kind of energy. Opposite nodes. This one wants a conscious effort from us. You need to be, understanding and deciding, okay, I will head this way. This is showing me, this person showing me where I need to go. This is an example of what I need to achieve in life, this kind of energy. However, for some reason, when we come together with that opposite node person, it's, the process already started. Quality 5. Quality copying situations occur when we have serious transitions. Certain transits like Saturn return or Uranus transits, even though we have been constantly learning by behavioral copying since our birth, we experience some dramatical, fast learning way, some shifts in some part of our lives. These experiences make us a better person. I'm sure you heard the stories or you experienced yourself. Yes, I was experiencing this in my life, and then all of a sudden I changed my look. I changed everything in my life. I decided to, go to the gym, etc. What happened there, right? What happened there? So it's a change time, and during that time when you met someone new, and if you have the connection between the charts with that person, it will create an energetical absorption. A Venus experience. This is the case that created the seeds of a hypothesis on quality copying for me, quality transfer. It's up to us how to say. Here are the definitions of the two people. One of them is me. I'm so comfortable with sharing my chart, so there is no problem about that. You'll be seeing in a minute. A woman who lives with her partner, graduated from 2 different universities, is more like a left brain, interested in academical learning. Actually, what I describe here, especially describing the moment, the time I met these friends, we can think about it like that more, because during that time I was interested in doing an MA, etc., things like that. My friend, a woman who lives with her family, mother, sister, brother, I mean by that, graduated from high school, artist, painter, strong right brain activity, strong imagination, lives only for the day, doesn't care, doesn't sleep regularly, uses medicine for bipolar disorder. Now, this is my chart. You can see my, let's take a silent moment to see. You can see my Sagittarius stellium in the 11th house. I use both Placidus and whole sign at the same time. I have a webinar about that. If you want to search about it, you can find it on the internet. So hopefully we can do one for Kepler too. So actually I use both of them, but for this session, I'm sharing only Placidus charts. But you can imagine this is also a 12th house situation. Okay, a Sagittarius energy with Pisces energy, air and water, and Capricorn rising. So this person is not very, not seeming rooted, right? Plans, future plans, ideas, things to achieve in life. So let's see the friend's chart. This is a person who is fixed, doing regular routines in life, and Taurus rising. Although Chiron is there, I think it's helping the situation. So you can also see the Venus is really high in the chart, in a really high position. So Venus is really emphasizing this chart. There are many things to discuss. However, let's see first the comparison. So you can see inner is my chart and outer is friend's chart. First of all, I want you to see this Jupiter-Venus connection right here. We met through our cats. We both have Persian cats, you know, the long hair ones. So we met through like 8 years ago. So we met through our cats and we became very best friends. However, as I said, I was having my Saturn return those times approximately. So it was an interesting time in my life. And there is a focus in Venus in this connection, you can see. Let's take a look. You can see the South node on my Saturn, which is making an effect like dissolving my Saturnian qualities. I'm a serious person. I want to focus on my, you know, MA or things like that. You know, she would say in a position like that, oh, let's go outside, let's do something, let's party, let's, you know, that person. So that South node is dissolving my Saturn. And Saturn is ruler of my rising, which is something to consider here. And you can also see that my Chiron, my healing abilities, actually my teaching is right on her, right on her North node where she needs to head in life. So I taught her many modalities. I certified her for many healing modalities, different modules. And I was actually like a teacher. And she was like a teacher to me too. That's the case for our friends, for, you know, for the people in our lives. So there is a connection coming from some generations or some past lives here. Obviously, we can see that. And also, you can see the Uranus here. It's also giving a dissolving effect, although it's a little bit far from Saturn. It's you know, it's a close point at the end of the day, and it's working with Mars too. It's affecting Mars too, and Mars is ruling my 10th house. We can see her Saturn in the 10th, etc., etc. We can also see the past life connection or soul connection with her Pluto in the exact degree on my South node. There is something. There's a reason that I met this person. And yeah, actually, that reason worked very well for both of us. Let's see the other side. Let's swap. So you can see my Jupiter on her 11th house. And it was my encouraging about her socializing, about her career. It seems like, you know, 11th house, but it affected her career too. Do something, work somewhere, in somewhere, you know, let's have you go somewhere, things like that, or giving a vision with that Jupiter. Also, you can see that my Chiron is, as I said, in her first house in Placidus. There's a connection here. However, I want you to notice my North node is Taurus and her rising is Taurus. So one of the, you know, in the formula, you can remember one of the lines was about this. When the two people has this combination, North node is in a sign, of course, and same sign in the other person's rising. So this can be a situation that person is taking the other person to the North node side. And the ruler of the North node, oh yeah, this is our Venus friend. So this is a Venus cat, remember? Venus symbolism. We met through cats, but that's not all I can say. I was someone that I never, I was never doing makeup until I met her. That's the story. So she's a painter and she's doing a gorgeous makeup on herself, like red lips, really bold appearance. And then I was like, my hair is not like this. I'm just hanging it right there. I'm like a kind of tomboy, let's say. So after I met her, I started to enjoy my Venusian qualities in life. She taught me how to enjoy Venus, how to enjoy life. It's not only academical things, it's not only learning, it's not only teaching, it's not only self-discipline. So she taught me about these things. And after a time passed, I noticed that I wasn't no longer that strict person about life goals anymore. And she was seeming like me more and more. And she was interested in, reading something, learning something. And she wasn't able to say no to her family. And I, taught her boundaries, having boundaries. You can see my Saturn here. And I say to her, say no, stop this, things like that. So this is a quality transfer. I started to wear makeup. I started to buy skirts, things like that. Does it really matter to wear a skirt, wear makeup? No, but when you miss something, a component of your soul, you can have it, or you may want to have it, and your higher self knows about it and makes you find the bright people you can learn that quality from. Yes, there's a really small summary here. We already talked about it. So she has a gift of stability, which I can say here. And she was using actually bipolar disorder medicines. Right now, she totally stopped using them and she is really healthy. However, I really observed that she slowly stopped using them and she got better and better. So this is an exchange of energy and learning. The friendship has a start after the first person has a challenging time in her life, as I said. What can I say new here? I already mentioned most of it. Yes, it's the North Node in Taurus and the ruler Venus, things like that. Let's move to our favorite Edgar Cayce. I love him.
Hey there. Oh, sorry. This has been so great. I just want to note again, if you all are interested in donating for this webinar, I am dropping the link in the chat. We appreciate all your support, and this has been an excellent experience so far, and we hope that you all benefit and show your appreciation with the community donations.
Hey, Kayla. Thank you. I highly recommend to support our organizations and Kepler. So you can find the link in the chat box. So please feel free, whatever amount you want to invest, because this is an investment of energy. Energy is an exchange and you can receive it from some other sources. I definitely recommend to donate Kepler. We love it.
And just as another reminder, all of donations go to the scholarships.
Yes, for sure. Great, I love scholarships. Okay, perfect. A family pattern. We'll be discovering a family pattern. And this is really something I love. Why I love Edgar Cayce. I'm sure there are people out there who love him too. So his chart is really interesting, guys. You can see this 7th and 8th house situation. Why I call it situation. In Placidus, you can think that this is a kind of 7th house. Yes, it works like that too, but it's also here in Placidus too, but in whole sign, when you switch it to whole sign, you can see that stellium totally works in the 8th house. You know, we can say beyond this life, beyond that. In classical astrology, there are rules, right? I studied classical too, and I'm loving classical. There is no, nothing against to it. However, there are other symbolism that we need to involve with, that we need to use in our practices. So what I can say here? Edgar Cayce, for the people who are not aware, who haven't heard about him, we can say that this is an American clairvoyant. He was able to diagnose, or he was able to give solutions to the illnesses of people. He was helping sick people, but it's an interesting. He was called sleeping prophet. He was doing it when he was sleeping. This was actually discovered when he was around 14, if I recall it well. And he was around that ages, he got sick. Actually, his back, his spine was injured at a school game. And then he slowly, went bad, worse and worse every day. So one day he was in his bed sleeping, and just he gave the solution of his illness. And his parents just took the notes, like a herb and something like that, boil it, something like that. And then he was telling the cure all of a sudden in his sleep. When they did the cure, when they prepared the cure, he got better and he got his health back. After that point, he started to give cures in his sleep, and this is where his famous sleeping prophet's nickname comes from. So this is a sleeping prophet. I don't know if anyone experienced an 8th house person in their, friendship, in their close environments. They are really connected to the other side. They are really connected. They are receiving information. It's like the curtain beyond, the veil is really thin. Maybe veil is not there, even, we can say. So these people are really connected to the other side. And you can also see the Uranus on the rising, but not exactly rising, yes, 3 degrees, but it's coming there. It's connected to the collective partially too. And Uranus actually, in its symbolism, higher knowledge, higher antennas, it's like an antenna. So it's receiving, downloading information constantly. We know the Uranus, it can just destroy and gives freedom. That's okay. However, it's an antenna for the higher knowledge. So like technology, modern ruler of Aquarius. So it's like a vehicle for information. And this Pisces helped him to be in service of humanity. All his life, he was able to do that. He couldn't study, he stopped going to school around 9th grade because his family couldn't afford it. And one day, this is the story you can find on the internet. One day when he was reading Bible, it is said that the angels are coming around him and asking him his wish, what he wants in life. And he says, I want to help sick children. So you can see this 5th house placement, and in whole sign, this 5th house, children's house, one of the symbolism, goes to the 6th house of sickness, service. So there is this service, health element going on. And he was able to manage his own company, actually, let's say organization. He had his own organization, and he was working with people one-on-one one-on-one, so we can understand where this seventh house working related to. So let's see Gertrude Casey. We know Edgar Casey, but we rarely hear, hear about Gertrude, right? So she's Edgar's wife, and look at her. Again, a Pisces. So 12th house, Pisces stellium. And we can see that it's, in whole sign, a little bit, there will be things changing here, but it's a 12th house stellium. And it's actually working with Uranus too. It's interesting, right? So there is this Piscean family pattern going on here. And there are things that these couple do together. See the Chiron, Neptune, spiritual healing, and moon. There are things they bring from other lives, other times and spaces, we can say. We can see their charts together, how they help each other, how they transfer energy. It's my point. So inner wheel is Gertrude. And we can see that Gertrude is taking Edgar to his north node. Yeah, he's able to go. Yes, there's a stellium. However, she is adding to it, And also you can see that they are coming together in the collective consciousness area, service area. They are helping sick people. They are helping to the collective. So that's one thing. Let's see the other side of this. Inner wheel is Edgar and outer wheel is Gertrude. We know that from the resources, Gertrude was really kind to him and she was constantly helping and encouraging him, during his life. At some points, he was called to be a scammer too. You are a healer, you're a spiritualist person, you say that you download information. Of course, there can be things like that, but you can see this mission here together and they are giving some energies, they are transferring qualities, knowledge, faith. She is giving these energies to Edgar, right? And Edgar is giving structure to this knowledge. I don't think this is only Edgar. So this is a couple's dynamic, couple's service coming together. And again, we can see that sick children thing going on. Here again, Venus in Capricorn and in the 6th house, they have a mission together. They had 3 children. One of them died at 6 weeks old. So this is the little Milton's chart. I find it interesting. Why, we'll see it. But first of all, check this 5th house. See, this child's really affected the goals or the mission of Edgar and Gertrude. They were actually kind of negatively inspired, and they worked on the children and worked on helping the collective more, especially after this child. You can see now inner wheel Edgar Casey, outer wheel Milton's death, not the natal chart. It was the natal first. This is the death. Can you see the death? Sorry about this. Can you see the death moment, Mars? And really quickly, I will show you back. Can you see this Mars, moon? And Mars is coming right on top of it. So there is a, mission again here. You can see everything is working for each other and we are constantly transferring energy. And Edgar also says that he knows where Milton is as a, reincarnated person, which is interesting. If you're interested, you can search about it. This is Sun Hyuk-lin, and he is also having 8th house placement in Pisces, you know, interesting. So he is really connected to the mission. How? He helped his father when he was receiving information, and he also published many books, republished them, Edgar's books. So he helped to the reputation of the father. Inner wheel, you can see Edgar. Outer wheel, you can see Hyuk-lin. Can you notice that he is empowering this energy with his sun, and Mercury right on that sun, publishing the books and polishing the reputation, the fame of the father. They are working again 5th house, again 6th house, a family pattern here. Let's talk about the couple's evolution. I hope everything is going well until this point. Dear audience, couple's evolution. Johnny Depp. Now, Johnny Depp has many relationships, and we all know, partially we hear about them in magazines, etc. However, there is one interesting long-term, already ended relationship, and we will be talking that past relationship of Johnny Depp now. First of all, I want you to all take a look at this South Node and Moon in Capricorn placement here in 6th house. So this is a workaholic in a way. He says that in his interviews. He says that I was talking to my children like I'm that character in the movie, you know, like a pirate. I was talking to them like a pirate or like that character. So he's that already always working, constantly thinking about work person. So he needs to head to family. In Cancer, he has a North Node. And this is also related to public service, again, discovering the subconsciousness or finding the compassion, finding the, mothering energy in self and in the others and giving that. So what happens when he met Vanessa Paradis? This is a French musician. She's a singer. She wasn't that famous when she met Johnny. They had a 14-year marriage and they have 2 children. So this is one of the longest actually relationships of Johnny. Why? We'll be discovering what qualities transferred to each other. But first of all, I want you to see, where does she come from? Just like Johnny comes with Moon, but in Cancer. And Cancer is ruled by Moon. So, in opposition to Jones, it's not in detriment or, in a bad position, but it's in the good position. But with South Node, she knows how to nurture. There are videos on YouTube you can find about her when she was in the first year of the marriage. People are reporters showing Johnny's videos to her, and she's crying. Oh my God, I'm in love, something like that. That energy, that energy. So there is something here they transfer to each other. Let's see. Inner Johnny and outer Vanessa. So they transfer qualities to each other constantly. And after they met each other, they say it was an instantly fall in love situation, meant to be. Vanessa became more and more famous and popular internationally, became like a Capricorn. And Johnny became like a cancer. They transferred these qualities, family, work. What is missing in me? Ah, you have that. Can I have that? Can I have some of that? Something like that. So let's go to couples evolution, the another page. Now we can see again Jupiter, Vanessa's Jupiter helping Johnny's moon, nurturing it, making him more famous. But at the same time, she's taking him, you know, to North Node, to teaching what a family is. And Johnny teaches what a reputation is, how it needs to be, you know, in an international scale. Let's continue. Harry and Meghan Markle, we know these, you know, two people, this couple from many webinars, but we will be taking a look with a different eye right now. Harry has this Virgo energies. However, I will just go to Meghan very quickly, and I will show you this Libra energy and this leading Leo. I want to be, you know, the ruler of my life, just like born famous energy. However, she wasn't like that, we know, because South Node in Aquarius usually, like Princess Diana, remember her chart, South Node in Aquarius is the person usually is born in the, like, in the places like many people are taking care of the child, or like villages, or like big large families. So this person knows the community, meaning of the community, the Aquarius, but she's also a Leo sun, Mercury sun. She's an actress, we know that. So this is that kind of energy going on here. But she has things about social structure. She wants to do social things, social reforms, like, right? She has some ideals about women's rights, about people's rights. So let's see what happens when they come together. Now, we can see that inner, first of all, Meghan, outer, Harry. This Uranian energy, like revolution, we will go out of this kingdom, or, you know, we will go to our own place, we will move to US thing, revolution. This rebellious energy is Uranus energy, is right on top of Harry's South Node in Scorpio. Scorpio South Node is usually about sharing the resources. Resources are usually shared, and resource also can be power. You know, power is a resource too. Self-power can be shared when it comes to South Node in Scorpio. So he was, you know, he was in a situation that he had everything, he has resources, but he was, you know, connected to some power dynamics. This Uranus energy just transfers into his South Node. Yes, we can see other things here, Venus, Pluto, and they are teaching each other power, being a family, things like that. Let's move the other side. Also, inner, you can see Harry, and outer, you can see Meghan. Now, Meghan, as you can see here, gives her Pluto, hence her Pluto, to Harry, to the 9th house, and Jupiter, an international. Yes, Harry is famous, but after Meghan, maybe he is more famous, you know, he is more popular. He is like an actor right now. So also there is this Pluto, there are dynamics internationally, there are scandals. Where did they move? You know, what is happening? What happened to the queen? Things like that. So there are qualities transferred, and Meghan gave him this energy, like enemies, we know in classical astrology, this is obvious enemies area. Megan gave this energy to him. This is also an interesting couple. Yes, how we are about the time. I'm quickly checking. Now this is interesting. Diego Rivera and Frida Kahlo. We know Frida is a very well-known, famous painter, artist, and I'm really inspired by her personality. So I wanted to add her here. What we know about them, they have, you know, an age gap between them. Diego is older than her, which is, you know, natural, but I'm sharing the background of them. And also we know that Frida had many sicknesses, chronic problems with her health, like broken legs or things like that. So this is where we'll be checking. Also, we know that in addition, Diego is known with his cheating on her. So that's something to keep in mind. What is happening here? What is happening? Inner wheel is Diego and outer wheel is Frida. We see that Diego has Saturn in Cancer. We know that Saturn in Cancer is not a, you know, classical astrology says that, has that energy of not being in comforts. And we also know that Saturn likes to be in a Capricorn energy or in Aquarius energy, likes to build things, and it's related to the bone structure, building things, right? So this energy is Diego's energy. What's happening? Frida has this North Node in Cancer, but Diego is giving his Saturnian learning lessons to Frida. So this is creating some maybe bone fracturing in her life. And if you read her biography, you can see that there are several times she had health problems, or there are starting times of those health problems, like there's a thing in bone health, spine health, or legs, bones, structures, discomfort situations, Saturn in Cancer. You can see that those times are really connected to the meeting or reconnecting times with Diego, which is interesting. If I say in other words, when we meet someone, this can be a partner, this can be a friend, that friend's energy immediately when the relationship starts connects to our chart, and that relation just starts working and materializing, manifesting in our lives. So what I can say about that, little tips. You can check your moon and sun in your charts. You know, in classical astrology, doesn't matter what kind of relationship, if you are feeling more feminine side, you can check your sun about your partner, or you can check your moon if you are feeling masculine, you know. And some astrologers says we can check Venus too, but check this moon and sun, what is happening to it natally? And that will explain you the quality of the person. So that's one thing important. Let's move on. You can see the South Node is weighing down with this Mars on top of it. And when this happens, usually being with the person is really not that easy, but also separating is difficult too. When Saturn is here, that's giving a similar effect to it too. Let me drink my water a little bit for tea. And how is it going for you?
This is great.
Thank you for feedback. Thank you, Kayla, for the feedback. Sound of the community. Now, this is my final example, and then we'll have a little calculation tip at the end. Couples evolution. It's interesting. So another Piscean partnership you can see here. This is a man's chart. And this Mars actually transfers right on my, it wasn't, you know, it was written in the first part, right in my spending habits, money habits, having money, you know, receiving money, but especially spending habits are directly transferred from that partner. So this is really interesting. And when you turn this chart, I didn't add this, but I can tell you, you can see that my second house is right on his fourth house. So I'm giving the house comfort to this person, which we live for like 18 years. So, you know, I can hear the sounds. So this is an interesting situation. When we check the synastries, we also need to check the transfer energy. Actually, this is the point of the talk today. When I last presented this talk, it was asked, so I added this calculation. Maybe there are people who don't know about it. I will talk about it shortly. Shadow sign and synthesis sign. This is a theory. I don't know. I'm not sure if it's pure classicals because I can't find the source I searched about it. If you know, let me know. What I can say about this, when you calculate your shadow, you will find out that like a North Node effect, you know, where you don't want to go, but you need to go. Shadow sign persons, people in your life, let's say for me, Aquarius people, teaches you with challenges, with irritation, with frustration. When you get the idea what Aquarius is like, what does it say? Okay, community, being together, helping each other, etc., or mind or rational, being reasonable, etc. So when you get the idea of the shadow sign, it will help you amazingly. You can't even believe it. So you can calculate it. It's the same calculation for both synthesis. In other words, we can call it dominant sign. And what you are lacking is shadow sign in your chart. Ascendant, sun, moon, they will be receiving 3 points each. For the elements, you can write this down on a paper. You can write all the elements, all the qualities like cardinal, fixed, mutable, and you can give the points. For example, my rising is Capricorn. I can write 3 to Earth and 3 to Cardinal, like this. And you will also give 1 point to MC and to the other planets. For some reason, probably when they find out this technique, when they found out this technique, they weren't considering the generation planets. So we are not including them. But you can actually, and you can see how they can add to it, etc. So you can find the emphasized element and the quality, for example, water plus mutable, Pisces, or find the least emphasized element and the quality, for example, air fixed Aquarius. You will find which that sign is. So basically this is the calculating. And you can also go back to the synastry and check what that person has. You know, when you see my partner's example, let's really quick see that. See that energy. Mercury in Aquarius, although this Pisces, but Aquarius, it can be triggering when you see your shadow sign in your life, and you will see it can be your child for sure. Please check that. And this person also can be your partner, your boss, your teacher, someone who is triggering you. So you will learn from those people, and when you understand the meaning, you know, behind the events, it will be a lot easier for you. Conclusion. This is a base for a research on why we meet certain people at certain times and what the dynamics are that changes us after meeting them. I observed the quality copying in some other cases too, but it's possible to say when people change us, it's seen in the charts of 2 and more people. It's obvious that there are some certain interactions between some certain charts, and those are the ones that we learn much from. The transitions that we experience and the connections with the people who have needed value in those transitional times are meaningful. Quality copying is happening all the time. For example, right now, even you can transfer qualities, you know, in this giant network called universe, it's happening all the time. And this case shows us, these cases show us that more research is needed, of course. This work can be useful to understand who serves us and how important to it, our path, why we meet certain people, and how we change forever after meeting them. We are not the same person after meeting those people. This is our conclusion, and there's a bibliography here. You can see this is a Turkish book. It's about relationships. Let me go back. Yes. So all of the charts are taken from astro.com, as you may know. That's all from me. And I can hear about the questions right now.
Great. This has been great. Do you have a slide that you can put up of your website or contact information if people want to reach out for a consultation?
Yes, thank you. We can give my email for that moment. It's actually my name for the website.com. They can check, they can reach out. Also, my email works really well. My name is the, my name, Gaye Alkan, and gmail.com. So just little Turkish words interrupting, Gaye Alkan at gmail.com. So we can type it in the chat.
Great. Yeah, I put it in there. So that's great. I just wanted to make sure we established that before questions. This is great. And we have a few questions here. One of them, I actually have this question too. So one of them is asking about the shadow sign, and and I wonder, like, can you give us an example of that equation? Like a real, with the chart?
Yes, sure. Let's do that.
Yay.
So for example, let me find one chart only. Yes, let's have Megan. First of all, I highly recommend on a paper on your computer, doesn't matter. I'm a digital person, but for this calculation, I like paper. I first learned like that. So write the elements: earth, air, fire, and water, and write the qualities: cardinal, fixed, mutable. Okay, there will be some places for each of them. So it's like a table. In the Word, you can do that too. So for example, for ascendants, you will give 3 points to water and cardinal. Write that down. 3 to water, 3 to cardinal. And then for sun, you will give 3 to fire, 3 to fixed. And then for the moon, the big 3, you know, in astrology, you will give 3 to air, 3 to cardinal again. Cardinal. So for the MC, you will give 1 point again to the elements, and the quality, same story with the other planets. No nodes, no Chiron or asteroid. We can add that, you know, but it's the original formula. So no generation planets are calculated. No generation planets are harmed in this process. So after this calculation, you will have an equation, a results of where you have the most points, you know, element wise, quality wise. Sometimes it ends up equal. In that case, you can break the equality with the risings, elements, and quality. Let's say sometimes water and fire, you calculate it, and water and fire are equal, okay? But you see these focuses here. Rising and sun and moon and the nodes can break the equality if you need, just in case. I hope it's clear. I tried to explain it very.
Yeah, no, this is good. So my question is, like, if somebody has, like, for instance, if someone has a lot of one sign, like a Capricorn, they'll get a lot of you know, cardinal Earth, and I'm curious, how is that? If they have a lot of that, how is that the shadow?
Oh yeah, okay, good question. Now, what we have the least? Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so you see what they have the least of, and then okay.
Yeah. Thank you for making me clarify that, because you know I just calculated. So yes, what we have the least, let's check in this chart. Only one water and the rising, okay, one here. So there are not many water, right? Fire, air. So it will be between the lacking, between the earth and water. But we can see that rising is 3 points. So earth is the lacking element of this chart. It's even simple like this. You can find the quality very easily too. Check the angularity, the angles. See cardinal, 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 you know. Check the planets. I mean, you don't need the angles to be calculated, but you can understand the overall energy of the person. Is this a fixed person? In a client session, it can be really useful. Can this person really change his life, etc.? You can understand the quality behind the person, let's say. So I hope it's clear now, Kaylin. What do you think?
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so we have another question. How do you decide which chart to place in the center? Would it be based on the native's perspective?
Actually, in most of the examples, as you see, we did it both ways, right? We just did it both ways. We use one person in the inner heel, and then in the outer heel. So we need to check both ways, not only one. We need to check both ways. But as you said, if the client is the natal person for you, is the person that you care, of course. However, it's again, you can't care only one person for a relationship. So it's both ways. We need to check for the both, and swap it.
Makes sense. That makes sense. And then what do you think about if one person's stellium is opposite the other person's stellium?
Yeah, actually, again, it's very fruitful, but people, those two need to be very conscious. And if these people are astrologers, it can be really helpful. However, we face with many people in our daily lives and we don't even know about it. So what happens with that? Usually in partnership, opposite stelliums creates a sudden attraction most of the times. That's my observation. A fear, who is this person? And then attraction, if it's becoming a relationship, it will be like an attraction more and more. And then that honeymoon phase will fade out slowly, after 6 months. People will be discovering the opposition. I don't understand, I do this person does this. Learning process begins. So whenever there is an opposition, there's an anticipation in life, there is a learning process. We all know about it. It's the same principle here.
Thank you. And someone just asked this question, but I believe, they just said, what if there are no stelliums and you would just treat it as you would normally, right? Okay. And people, I just want to say people are very excited and love the theory. And I have another question.
Yes.
I have any other questions up about the shadow. So what if somebody's shadow sign is also their north node?
Yeah, that works. That works
point, right?
Yeah, that works pretty well, because north node is something that we don't know in this incarnation or in the present, if we even don't believe in incarnation. However, good question. Thank you for that. If it's south node, that changes the equation, because
well, it's actually because it's actually like, say it's both. So like if someone is lacking mutable, and their north and south node is an immutable sign.
Yeah. We also need the elements. What element is the most lacking element?
Yeah. Okay. So that makes sense. So yeah, it would be so then if either way, go on with what you're saying with the south and north node.
Yeah. So questions are perfect. So let's say we find two elements are lacking. Okay. So equal, what to do at that point? You need to elect from the equation your south node, because you know it when you came here, your rising, your sun, your moon. If any of these are in that sign that you find in the equation as an equality. Does that make sense? So let's say you lack fire and air, and you can't decide which to discard, but you have that south node in Aquarius, so you know that's air. Yes. But of course not for this chart, because this chart knows what fire is.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
I think it's another practice for another webinar. It seems like that, right?
Right.
So there needs to be
I would go to that. I would attend for sure. And everybody, I mean, you're getting so much love in the chat, and people are so excited, and thanking you for this. So on that note, everyone, we appreciate you attending, and we appreciate this presentation with Kepler. This was fantastic. So thank you so much for sharing.